5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're live with Neve.
All right. Happy Friday, everybody. You're on Live with Neve. We're broadcasting from the East Coast of the United States. We're having a great time just outside New York City. We're looking at the ocean. It's a beautiful day. It is temperate. My friends in LA, I'm sorry. I know you guys are sweating. And my friends in Florida, my ex-wife let me know it was 92 degrees this morning. It's 7 o'clock, I believe, which is just unbelievable. It is Friday. I'm glad you're all here. We're going to have a great weekend. We've got some different issues today from our usual fare, which is cool. Julie's going to be leading the charge. Excuse me. We had some great guests on, and excuse me, losing my voice. I'm all verklempt all of a sudden.
Oh, that's okay. No, we have some great guests coming on. We're doing something a little bit different today. We have, well, first of all, let's introduce our new permanent cast members who will be joining us as co-hosts on the show. So now we have a full team, and we'd like to bring them on. You already know them, and they've been so wonderful and amazing all this time. So we decided they need to be on the show all the time.
And it's even better than a marriage. We don't have to give each other houses if we break up. We just get to hang out, and it's like, really, it's a lot of fun. And I can't think of better people to hang out with, including you guys in the audience. I mean that truly from the heart.
Absolutely.
So come on, let's bring on our men.
Okay, our sure.
Newest...
I'm all about bringing on our men. Our men.
I know you are.
Yes, we are. So we have Mr. Mike Imperato, the
Hey guys, how's it going?
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you for being agreed to be a part of this debauchery that we call life.
Right.
Hey, it's the best.
So I have to ask you: Do you have some rant? Are you in rant heaven today? Are we going to be in?
I have it. Oh, I have. One is going to show how stupid freaking people are, and the other one is pretty. I think it's funny because I never heard of anything like this in 60 years till I heard this story the other day, and I'm going to rant about it.
Well, I can't wait. Knowing your history, Mike, I can't help look forward to this. I know some of us, we just leave it at this. We've seen things, and when you get something new at our age, it's just like I can't imagine.
My mind is blown. I'm still. Wow. I can't. If I can't speak, I'm screwed up. So
yeah.
Right. I hear you.
Let me bring our last our other person on so we can make sure we're all here together and we can enjoy Mike's rants. Oh God, it's Irish. Welcome back and welcome
on the team, my friend. We're glad you're here, brother.
Absolutely honored. Just to get to hear Mike rant, that's like vitamins in the morning, man. Nothing
Thanks,
that you
bud.
get like
Mike's.
Yeah, we should make him the state speaker of New Jersey. I think he'd be better than the kind of idiot we have now. I don't want to get into politics this morning. It's
my father's famous words. If I was the president, I'll tell you exactly what we would do.
Well, we'll save that for another episode.
I want to hear a little bit.
I don't know if we're ready for that this morning. So for everybody out there, go ahead, Irish.
Oh, good to go, man. Let's rock and roll. Let's get this party started.
Absolutely. So I'm looking here. We have, thank you, Toby, for your kind words. We're going to talk about a friend of mine who passed away yesterday, later in the show. Anyhow, thank you for all the messages and condolences and stuff. I appreciate it, everybody. We will talk about that more and about JR at length later. So we're excited. Julie and I, Mike was our first like friend who came on, and he's been part of the show. He's effectively been a cast guy, but
The whole
I don't
time.
know. It's like we finally put a ring on him, you know.
Yes.
And you know, we're waiting to consummate the marriage somehow.
we made it official. It was
An
fun.
Irish, you're a big, strong, strapping Irish man. I don't know why we'll consummate you. You're a little big, but at any rate, we're glad to have you. Ooh, look at me, looking kind of cute, big guy.
I mean, you know, you gotta be able to pull it off. I still got it. All this isn't easy, you know.
Hey, man, that's right. That's right. Well, for everybody watching, Irish has been a guest of ours now for quite a while, and I've liked him since the first day. So we kind of become friends, and it's great because now I have just another excuse to hang out and bullshit and talk, you know, make laughs. If you are watching, we are working on our disclaimer. I started writing it yesterday. And
it's 14 pages long now.
It's getting longer, yes. The amount of things that we have covered and that we may have to warn people about grows weekly, daily. And like, who knows? Like today, Mike's got a new bit that it pushes the bounds of all that is right and decent, I think, because he's amazed, which this guy doesn't get amazed.
Because we didn't push the bounds with the electrolysis on the penis last week.
Sorry, I forgot about
have we
that.
ascertained though that it indeed was electrolysis? Was that the actual mechanism of treatment?
No, remember he had his cock hanging out. In one picture he sent me, it was a big pink dick hanging out of pink shorts, and then the second one he was laying down and he had his big flat cock in his pants and electrodes coming from a big box on this table, and the wires are going into his underwear, and they're obviously attached to his cock.
He had to have a jump start. You know, sometimes you need a jumper cables to get.
What a loser! Absolute freaking loser!
Absolutely. At any rate, I think Frau Blucher will be happy with that. I think people are getting tingly in the audience already. For those of you who don't know who Frau Blucher is, Frau Blucher.
Wait. I got to do it right. Say it.
Okay. Blucher. Julie, we're going to have another breakdown of that with just one so that I can go Blucher and you can go Blucher, and you go.
I can just do it for you.
There we go.
Fantastic.
And we're going to invite everybody in the audience to send us their sounds of the barnyard.
Oh my God, that's you don't want to do that.
Yeah, be careful with that one because you get some of the ones with sheep, and then you hear the guys in the background, and they're really happy about the sheep, and you just don't want to go.
Well,
hey, you know what?
Let's get to the disclaimer because we're getting out of hand.
Fuckers,
Listen, this is New York City.
Are you kidding?
How did we go? How did we go from such lofty opening monologue to talking about goat fuckers? I mean,
they're out there.
Oh, I know they are, especially like where you're at. You know, I consider that scary territory sometimes. It's just Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Only you, Julie, would come up and actually, I like the fact. I love the taxonomy you use in grouping our sound effects.
So, somebody I know, their sister was married to somebody I know, their sister was married to a Muslim. So she's like, "What do you get him for Christmas? You get him a fucking goat. That's what you get him. You get him a goat. That's what they want. They don't want anything else. He just, oh, that's not right. You shouldn't say that, but it's the truth. They're out there plowing them, not me. You don't see me. You don't see me standing behind a goat."
I don't know anything about anybody's religiosity or lack thereof. This is new to me about the goat thing. So I'm just going to say, if you like your goat and it's a consenting relationship, that's between you, yourself, and your God. Where I come from in New Jersey, I will tell you this, though. We've had laws against shagging goats for at least 300 years.
That's good. You need them.
Now, in Florida, for example, we didn't have rules about that or laws till about 10 years ago.
Sorry, I didn't have a go. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Julie. What was that animal?
It was a pig squealing.
Holy shit.
Like this?
Oh, God.
How's that? Oh, it responded to me. I think that was
pretty good. That was
God. For everybody watching, what does ba mean? 1, 2, 3. That always means no.
Oh my God.
In whatever language you speak, whatever creed you hold dear to your heart, if a sheep starts going, bah, when it does that, it doesn't like you. It means you're a scary, creepy person. So please, on the other hand, you know what? If that's your thing and you and the goat, just make sure you feed it well, provide water, a pen in the wintertime, heat lamps, that's between you and the goat. And all I can
it
tell
won't
you
be
is,
outside in the
please,
wintertime.
do
It'll be
not
right in the
send us
freaking bed,
any
right next to
goat
them.
shots. We don't want to
right next to them in the bed. That's perfect because one of my rants today is about goat yoga. Goat yoga.
Perfect segue. Perfect segue.
Goat
Go
yoga.
for it. Go for
All
it,
right,
Mike.
you want it?
We want it.
So
we want hard.
Years ago, we're watching Penn and Teller, and we're watching this lady. You talk about people will literally pay for anything. So this lady lives in Arizona, right? She has people come out for their inner dolphin experience. They pay $2,000 for the weekend. They sit in a circle around her freaking house, and they channel their inner dolphin. So I'm saying, oh my God, people will literally pay for anything. Now I'm watching this freaking PBS station. I only got PBS in the camper. So now these people are sitting in a freaking circle. As you're doing the downward dog, some goat is sticking its ass right in your freaking face. They're paying for this. They're paying to have a goat's ass in their face while they're doing yoga. Why? What is the benefit? You want to go to a petting zoo, go to a freaking petting zoo. You want to do yoga. I mean, I get yoga, you might involve some sex, but please, God, don't let it be with a goat. Why would you pay to go to somebody's house and sit in a circle in the living room with a giant pen around you? So as you're doing all these stupid yoga poses, upward dog, downward dog, sideward, whatever the freak they call them. So some goat is stick, and the lady, I'm watching this blowing my mind. So she's going down on this freaking pose, and this goat walks by and just turns. His ass is right in the face. She paid for it. She paid to have that happen. I don't understand what's going on with this freaking country. I don't get
it. Did any of the goats, did they have yoga pants on and a plethora of cellulite?
No, they had nothing. And them goats, you just can't tell a goat, oh, don't shit right now. Those pellets are coming flying. They're flying out.
They consider that a bonus.
One time we bought 2 goats at the New York State Fair, and now in Syracuse, we had a 7-hour drive back to Brooklyn. Now we have them in the back seat of the truck, and they're just shitting nonstop. So the kids in the back, all our students from the horses, they're throwing the goat pellets out the windows. And finally, they made a diaper out of brown paper bags because it was ridiculous. But these freaking people, I'll pay you. You can come to my camper and pay me. I'll go find the goat somewhere, and I put the goat right in your freaking ass. Because some asshole said, "Oh, goat yoga is cool." Now people are paying to have a goat stick their ass in your face. I give up. We're done. This country's finished.
Remember, Mike, in New York City, there have been farms for decades making money sending various animals to our political leaders of New York and New Jersey. It's a fact. It's documented that we've seen wildlife of various forms heading up in Cuomo's mansion. My understanding is that Governor Cuomo's yoga goats have pierced nipples. I'm pretty sure that's one of the things he's got going on.
Holy crap.
For everybody who's watching in New York, the governor, Mario Cuomo, what a magnificent man, I must say. I'm just so proud of all he's done. He has nipple rings, as I do. It's a very rock and roll type of thing to do. And I give Cuomo credit, for actually manning up. It's incredibly painful. He probably had
it in handy when you hook up the electrical wires.
Exactly, man. It's like that stuff Julie was talking about earlier. You haven't lived. Actually, I will tell you, I'm one of the only human beings alive without a piercing. I did have a pierced ear.
No, not me. Not me.
Yep. Well, anyhow, I've seen piercings that would make you cringe, and Julie has too. Live and in the flesh at a gig that goes by the name of Nude Stock, which we'll talk about. That show could have a whole episode. We have about 2 minutes, people. So Irish, tell me what's going on where you're at today. Is it hot as hell? I've been hearing the Midwest is like.
It's toasty up here, man. Doing the landscape, it is toasty. You're sitting out there. Oh, it's not too bad. It's not too humid. It's relatively dry. I tell that to my wet ass because it's hot out here.
I bet. Oh, Kim, we always like it when we have happy guests.
Titillating.
It's titillating is such a friendly word. I mean, what can I tell
you said Julie had two was it stories about piercings or had two piercings?
No,
we have to come back and hold that thought through the break. We're out of here.
Yeah. Hey, and after the break, I got one more rant after the break that you guys.
All right, we'll be right back with Mike on rants, and we're off.
We'll be right back, guys. Oh my God! If I can find out what I need to do here. Oh my God! Too many in this town.
I'm Neil from Live with Neve. We have an exciting connection for our veterans, country music fans, and there is something for everyone. Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. That's right, we've partnered with Gone Country Hats at GoneCountryHats.com. See you soon.
Hi, this is Leland Sklar, and I am hanging with Neve, and I am having the best time of my life.
Live with Neve, Fridays on the East Coast from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m.
All right. Big thank you to Lee. Al, I'm going to give the Lee salute for everybody.
The Leland Sklar salute.
Leland, we hear you, brother. I use that more often every day, the older I get. So
Mike's got another one for us.
Yeah, we were talking about goats, so now I guess we'll segue out of the goat yoga.
We're out of the goats. We're going into Catholic weddings now.
Oh, good God. We go from goats to Catholic.
Well, good. Make sure we offend somebody else today other than the Muslims, right?
So now I meet this person's telling me this story that many years ago, she was a best woman at a wedding in a Catholic church. I'm like, it can't be. It can't be. First of all, let's get something straight. I says, so this guy didn't know any guys. He had no male friends at all. She's going, I don't know. I said, you got the mailman, you got the UPS driver, you got the friggin' now you got Amazon drivers. There's a 50-50 chance one of those was a guy. You throw him $50, he's going to stand up at the altar. I'm like, this can't be. I'm on the phone to the Vatican. Oh, I want to speak to the Pope. When did this shit start? When did they allow this? Because I'm like, if I'm the priest, I'm saying, nah, you're on the wrong freaking side. It's bridesmaids over there, Russia's over there. Get the fuck out of get over there. Now, I'm like, I'm still in shock over this. This was like 20 years ago that the Catholic Church allowed this. So that's where we are. Now I always say, how did this country go wrong? That was the wedding that started it all. With the they, it, she, it, us. Get the fuck out of here. Now, so the girl that stands in as the best woman has got a rack like you wouldn't believe. So she says, the bride is flat-chested and not even good looking. Now, if I'm the priest at the altar, I'm going to say, are you telling me you're going to marry this one here instead of the one standing next to you with that incredible freaking rack? What's wrong with you? You're marrying the wrong one. And so I asked her, how long did the wedding last? Not long. Couple of months. It was over. What do you expect? You have a freaking woman as your best man. You don't think that they allowed it? So I've been on hold since Monday with the freaking Vatican. And they keep saying, who do you want to speak to? The Pope. I want to speak to the Pope because I want to know when this shit is going to stop. No, guess what? It's called the best man for one. It's not called your best person, but I guess now it is. It's bullshit. I'm like, how can you be such a freaking loser in your life that you don't have a cousin, you don't have a brother, you don't have a mailman, you don't go get the butcher out of the freaking supermarket. Somebody get a guy walking down the street, say, hey buddy, here's $100. Come stand in the chair. Somebody's gonna do it. But no, I'm gonna pick a woman. It's not going to make my new wife feel insecure that I'm so crazy about this woman that I want her to be my best man / woman. She's got an amazing rack. Now, if I'm the priest, I'm saying to the guy, you know what? I'm sorry. You're too fucking stupid to get married. Get out. That's it. Get out because you're not.
They'd lose money that way.
The Catholic Church attendance has plummeted over the last 20 years. It started with that wedding. That wedding started the decline of the Catholic Church.
Wedding zero. Wedding zero.
That's it. Wedding zero. End of freaking rant. Oh, and I'm still on hold, and I will be speaking to the Pope. It's going to happen.
I can't wait.
Ask him what happened if the old German Pope, if he's talked to him lately. We haven't heard. That was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in papal history, was the fact that this Pope's up there cruising along. He's doing the Pope thing. He's waving. He's got the hat, the whole deal. And then one day you wake up, it's like, we tossed that Pope. We're not going to really tell you why, but he's up at Castle Gandolfo. He's hanging out. He's doing the Pope-like activities. He's hanging. I imagine his days are a lot like Marilyn Manson's.
Well, have you watched the movie Two Popes? Have you watched the movie Two Popes? Because that explains the whole thing.
Oh yeah, I did actually. But
fabulous movie with Anthony Hopkins. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but for the sake of laughter, of course,
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
When I was in the Vatican, this is a true story. I was walking through the Sistine Chapel, and of course, when I'm in Europe, in the old days, I would carry a 35 millimeter camera. Come back with 60 or 70 rolls of film and then have to wait like 6 months to get it all developed. It cost so much back then. But I was walking through the Vatican, and of course, when I saw a sign at the door, it said no flash photography allowed. So I thought that I looked down and I set my flash to off, and I got it to the setting that I thought would work. I'm kind of looking at it, and I take my first picture, and it's packed. I'm walking from one end to the other. My wife's there. She's looking around. She's blinded by science and having a miracle of her own. Anyhow, as I click my first shot, it flashes.
Wow.
And so all of a sudden, you see all the guys in the suits, the Vatican guards. They've got their little ear thing. They look like the White House Secret Service guys, only they're all in Armani. They're very festive, I must say. Wonderful. They have a wonderful uniform. Anyhow, I see the flash. I see these guys looking around. And of course, I'm just like, wow, that's a pretty cool painting, man. And they're looking around, and my wife is so pissed off. She's just giving me the stink eye. And we walk through. And so, of course, I start shooting again. And somewhere I have a mosaic that I shot and went through it a second time to actually make sure I had enough shots. But needless to say, I did turn the flash off successfully. The other experience I had was asking for a Pope on the Rope soap bar at the souvenir stand. And I will just tell you, there's a lot of people at the Vatican with a good sense of humor. Nobody got angry. I didn't get seized and put in irons in the dungeons. And they do have some pretty crazy dungeons in the Vatican for anybody who hasn't been there. You got all kinds of creepy stuff downstairs. That's all I'm going to say. For that, Julie, can you give us some, what do we call those? Gregorian chants. Ooh.
Oh, well, I'm not a male. I'm not a monk, so I can't.
Anyhow,
sorry.
Enough about the Vatican. It's 10:23. Iris, tell me some more. Like, have you had any customers since you started your business that are noteworthy that aren't customers anymore?
Actually, I'm going to say I've been pretty lucky so far. For the most part, it hasn't really been one of those experiences where you go there and you put something in and say, yeah, I don't want that. Okay, I'll take it out. I'll put another plan in. Oh, I don't want that. That's what you said you wanted.
Yeah.
But I know I really wanted the other one. I've had a little
buyer's
pickiness
remorse.
from time
That's
to time.
a common problem when you're trying to make people happy. They have an idea and then they change their mind. And some of them are like watching a squirrel run across the street. They'll go back and forth 3 or 4 times. I was in sales for decades, so I get it. And you kind of like, isn't it a buzzkill? You're like, doesn't this look great? And then they're like,
yeah, they say, no, it sucks, and you suck, and get out.
Yeah, and your dog sucks, and your little dog Toto as well. But yeah, well, you're lucky. I do believe most people mean well, and I say down south we just go, oh, bless your heart, and because if somebody means well,
with a pat on the head, the patronizing pat on the head,
yeah,
be on your way.
Sweet tea, so sweet their teeth fillings are going to fall out. That's how we treat them down there. Or just
Well-
give them some moonshine. But what's up, Jewel? Is it time to? What do you got on your plate? I see your.
Yeah. Well, the show today is, we were gonna delve
Right.
into some of the esoteric stuff. We've been getting a lot of, at least I have. I've been getting a lot of questions into that. And so I thought, it would be a good time to kind of chat about it and, talk about, some of the things that were originally, used to be under New Age, things like, Eastern medicines and healings and philosophies, from energy work to the paranormal, to indigo children, empaths, light workers, highly sensitive people, all the way to quantum mechanics, physics, and the universe, how everything is connected. There's no science without God. There's no God without science. All that stuff. So I wanted it to keep it like this, make this kind of like a little introduction to that, and see where it goes. So I know Irish Hat and Mike both had some really awesome experiences, some things that they could really speak to. So I wanted to get to them first and let them tell us and share some of their experiences before I went into, before I know Neil had some stuff too, and I had some things to talk to. So I wanted to let you guys go ahead and share what you need to share, and get us rolling in that. So Irish, you want to start?
Sure. So, as you know, I was in prison for 25 years, 2 weeks, and 5 days. And about, in my early 20s, I wanted to know and understand life in general. I wanted to understand why we were here, the eternal question of man that we've yet to answer, I think. So I studied, I studied the Bible. I studied, Druids. I studied the Norse. I studied philosophy. I studied science. I studied it all because I was just genuinely curious about life. And so, going back to the Druids, if you look at them, they're a lot like the Native Americans. And the Native Americans are really about nature, the life around you and appreciating it and stuff like that. Same with the Druids. It seems that the European old religions do have a hint of violent tendencies, which, transformed into several different religions that are still standing today. But when I studied the Druids, it was like kind of studying nature. And I really appreciated that being a country kid. So they're into like the oak tree. The oak tree is like the pillar that goes into the earth, and that's everything. But then the Norse do the ash tree, the tree of life. And so if you really get into it and you see, no matter which one it is, there's always usually a father or son. There's usually a sun god. There's usually all these things. So they really kind of relate. And I think I came to the conclusion that in religions, it's more about finding different aspects of yourself. So if you have 15 gods, maybe not take it literal. Say, hey, look, maybe this is one aspect of ourselves. We have parts of us that are warriors. We have parts of us that are sensitive. We have parts of us that are inquisitive. We have different parts and sections of our person and of our soul that I think that was the main thing. And they had a lot of social practices to where I think we should reinvent in a sense, not go back, but go forward using the lessons that have been handed down from time. Because if you take, look what they did. The shamans were pretty smart. A buddy of mine pointed this out when we were talking about it one time. He said, when somebody died, they burned all their shit. And the reason they burned all their shit because that ends up ruining families because they fight over the person's stuff after they die. If it burns, if they burn it and it's gone, it saves tribes. In tribes, everybody had a job. There was no money, so you had a butcher, you had a baker, you had a iron worker, you had all of these people, and everybody was a necessary component of their society. And I think that there's a lot to be said about that in a society that we live in now, where everybody's a gear to somebody else's wheel.
Yeah.
That's very, yeah, that's
That's
a
cool.
very, very good way to put it. And I like that you're comparison between the Native Americans and some of the pagans and some of the, and because
It's all
of nature. It is.
Oh, by the way,
nature.
wait a second, guys. Can't call them Native Americans anymore. They're indigenous people. Sorry, not allowed to use that word
that
anymore.
is indigenous peoples. It must be a plural.
And on that
Indigenous
point,
Thank
peoples.
you.
Oh yeah.
And on that point, you can't call me a hillbilly anymore. I'm an Appalachian American. Okay.
There you go. I love it. Holy
Absolutely.
shit, that's great. That is
Well,
great.
actually, I am a Native American, and my people are native to Italy. However, in America, we were called Wapahos, and so I officially have kept my tribal identity, and I identify as such. So do not mess with me, okay?
Trust me, I know, because anywhere, if I
represent.
say a word, my kids immediately say, "Not allowed to say that, Dad. You're not allowed to say that, Dad." So I know every word we're not allowed to say.
Well, I'm mad at Burger King
Wapaho.
for Whoppers. I mean, come on,
my
what the
God.
fuck is that about?
It's like it's like sharks. From now on, we
Whoppers,
don't have the
really?
great white. We have the average Caucasian shark.
Oh my
His name is
God.
John
my
Smith, and he cruises the waters as a merchant of death. I like following the white shark migrations here because I live right off the water here, about a mile, down the hill, and we have great whites, but it's always a news story. Great white seen off of Asbury Park. It's Panger. It rose up to go, hey, am I there at dinner yet? Yeah, they have good stuff to eat in Asbury. There's a lot of tourists. And so anyhow, they go by and, people get excited about it. This year, there's more than ever. They're heading up to Cape Cod, this is New Jersey. We had a meeting. We had a sit down. Everybody decided they're going to go up to Montauk and somewhere else this year. So all was well with the shark migration. Getting back to Irish's comparison, man, it was the best. I know we got to go, and it was the best comparison of religion I've seen in a long time. And I'm sorry, I just wanted to squeeze that in. We're out of here. We'll pick up the Irish.
We'll be right back. We'll be right back, guys.
Hi, everybody. Neve from Live with Neve. We're just having a little fun driver here, so please PayPal me / at Live with Neve.
All right.
Yes, and so Irish, so please continue with what you're saying, because I wanted to add also that while we were talking about all indigenous people and everything, I actually am a card-carrying Cherokee. So I have that in a blue card that shows my amount of blood in there. So I actually do. My grandmother has been made an elder in the Cherokee Nation, so I'm like totally legit. Yeah, right. So, anyways, just want to throw that out there. I am legit. I'm not one of these people who says, "Oh, I'm Cherokee." Oh, really? Yeah. You have a card? A what? Yeah, you have to get a card from the government that says you have this much blood and you could be traced back to other people. So like what's his name? The Great Compromiser. Henry Clay is actually a great uncle.
Wow, that's interesting. Henry Clay.
My grandmother's
person from history for sure.
Yeah, my grandmother's maiden name is Clay. So yeah, she's directly related. Anyways, I just had to throw that fun fact out. So back to Irish's and Mike's stories. Thank you. Go right ahead.
So what I ended up coming up with, and I stand on this to this very day, is that if you take all of the great religions, the great sciences, and the great philosophies, you don't have to follow any one because you're your own individual.
Right.
But if you take the aspects of each ones that you personally relate to and the ones that really move you and touch you, and that is, I think, the eternal lesson that maybe all of them meant. That golden rule, do unto others as you would do, have them do unto you. Be good to people. And that's out of years of studying so many faiths, that's really what I've come up with, is you can take aspects of any faith, and instead of finding the differences in them and arguing and fighting, and I mean, religion has probably spawned and killed more than anything else in human history.
Absolutely, without a doubt.
So instead of maybe taking that approach to it, take the approach of, maybe right here, there's this really cool thing. Right here, there's this really cool thing. Right here, there's this really cool thing. And take the positive aspects, disregard the negative aspects, and keep on pushing.
See,
Well
that's
put.
a very
Well
balanced
put,
way to
man.
look at it.
I agree with you. I think there's wisdom in all faiths,
Absolutely.
and you really summed it up. It's funny, man. Every time we talk, I realize I like to read a lot, and I know in your 24 years of being incarcerated that you've probably read everything and a lot more than I have. Which, I find that great because every time we talk, I learn something. And I remember
eternal
actually
black hole.
stepping on my shoe one time by telling you who was the character in Dumas' novel. And I felt like such an idiot. As soon as it came out, I was like, this guy probably read 10 times the books you've ever read. As soon as it rolled off my tongue, and you handled it with a good laugh, which I found funny because I was laughing at myself. I was going, you idiot. Why did you say that? As if you need a tutoring class.
Hey, listen, it's everybody has a story. Everybody has an input, and you got to listen to them. You know what I mean? Everybody has something to teach somebody. Everybody has some sort of something inside of them that has that will change your mind about something if you're willing to listen.
For sure. So there's a lesson to be learned too as well. I'm just going to pipe in briefly. The Stoics would have said that when it comes to hiring and firing the people you use or you work with, Marcus Aurelius would basically say people are flawed, but if they're good at something, hire them, use them. People aren't made with your values. People aren't made with your anything. You have no references to what they've been through or what they think. And therefore, hire them, use them. It's like today, I'm not a fan of cancel culture and things like that. We're not going to get into that, but it's the kind of thing that leads to that mentality.
Right.
Instead of being unhappy with people you work with, just accept them for what they are and what they do good. And you don't have to hang out with people. We choose our friends. But I think this, and I'm going to get back to it. He said, hire people for what they do. Don't judge their habits. It's not, again, it's the golden rule always stands tall, but I'm not God. So whatever I believe, nobody really cares. So I keep it to myself for the most part. I'm kind of a lapsed Catholic, Buddhist, weird, just like you. I've taken a lot of the religions and learned the good things. So,
well, you take the 6 virtues of Buddhism. That's a great teaching.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you want to explain that to the folks who may not understand where you're coming from?
Well,
what that means
you take, like I said, you take all these different aspects, and Buddhism. The goal to Buddhism and Taoism is to achieve nirvana, which is nothingness.
Right.
They say that your soul has reached the point where it can rest. It's learned what it needed to learn. Different Norse religions say, hey, listen, you have to improve this part of yourself, and at the end of the day, you go back to science, and they can't even tell you what a quark is. And it's just little string energies, and that's all we're made up of is carbon and string energies.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, and you just sit back and you go, yeah, we don't have it figured out. And there's
a question
all kinds
here.
of other shit behind the scenes that, Jules and I were talking the other day. You're sitting there, you're thinking about a song, and it pops up on the radio. Now, is it because that's the radio mix that's been going on for a month, or is it just maybe you're
synchronicity, or is it
you're just tuned in at the
numerical
time?
value that makes sense? I don't know. I read a lot, like you. To me, I would casually probably just think of it as a synchronicity moment.
Right.
That's me. But there's other ways people would look at it. I know that there's other people who'd feel that was a moment in time that had greater consequence and rippled out through time. Which again, I haven't even smoked any weed yet. Not really.
There's a question from Veronica.
Yeah.
Manifest destiny. Do you believe it? Manifest destiny means basically if you can will something into existence. Yes. And I'm going to tell you a story about that. I was done. My appeals were done. I was through. There was no getting out. I refused to accept it.
Right.
And you're out.
For those of you
Yeah.
who are just joining us, Irish came on our show and we talked about his life. And hi, hey Liz, good morning. I'm a fan of Jung, and I think that I like him a lot more than Freud, just from a.
Freud was a dick.
Freud was not only a dick.
Freud was an asshole.
He was kind of confused too. I mean, the whole stupidness.
Didn't he screw his mother?
No, it was his sister's wife.
And his goat.
And his goat.
There you go.
Jung's goat. I'm going to write a song about that, or put a line in there about Jung's goat being very happy. That is scaring the hell out of my cat.
To goat.
That was a pig.
And that was a subliminal,
Oh,
Julie.
God.
I don't know if you know this, Julie, but when it pops up, I'm not sure if you can see it on your end.
I can.
Okay, but
that's
it
the
gives
only way to
that
make
it gives a
it.
cigarette burn type effect of the name of the sample in which the fuck by
I
pig
know.
or whatever it said.
I know. I had to create them that way. That's the only way I can upload them as MP4s. This system only takes MP4s.
So for everybody watching, for everybody watching, all of our inner 12-year-old comes out after about 5 minutes. We got about 5 minutes of serious, and then we're five again.
Do.
Oh yeah,
love
I'm
it.
never going. I don't ever plan on growing up. So
I know.
I'll be
Getting
like-
old
like
is
myself
optional.
forever.
Growing up is completely, getting old is mandatory. Growing up is completely optional.
absolutely
I love you
true.
guys.
That's exactly
I
what
love
it
you
is.
guys. This is why we have the perfect team.
I just noticed Mitchell. Mitchell's a new friend of the show, and I'm glad he's back again today. Mitch, good to have you. And I have not read this book, but I always like it. Anybody out there, if you, I'm always looking for my next good book to read, so I will have to check it out. As far as that question that she asked, I'm going to give you my own spin, and then we'll see what you guys think. I think that you can manifest so much. I think really manifesting yourself goes really well with learning a lot, working hard, constantly trying to ask yourself, challenge your beliefs, know that if you can do something better, rather than just say, oh, this is the way I was taught, having the capacity for self-improvement and the desire to do it. And a lot of people will be happy with what they're doing. And I, excuse me, I don't have any particular message to tell anybody. I'm just my own personal opinion. Mitch, I am going to go and read that book. I'm always looking for something good, and I look forward to it. But back to the manifestation of our own thing, you also get a lot of help, and we can't underestimate the people in our life. And that can be knowledge, having someone to teach you things you didn't know. Being a man enough or a woman enough to admit you don't know things. We don't know everything. When you notice how when we're young, we think we know everything, and we just so full of. I graduated college and just thought I just knew everything about audio and video and television. I just had it, and I knew a lot, but I didn't know shit. Now I'm looking at it, 40 years later in my experience. There's so many things I wouldn't have done, but personal growth is kind of how you manifest a good life. That's really all I'm concerned about doing. I don't worry about money. I mean, we all have to worry about money, but life is very short. And, as a result, it's like Warren says, enjoy every sandwich and treat people nice. That's the other thing. And that's my basic credo for life, the golden rule, treat people good. And then you probably will have.
I love sandwiches.
Manifest.
Yeah, I believe in
things
karma
will happen
completely.
in your life if you're doing the right things and you're open to them. And you also have to have a little bit of balls. You got to take that chance and jump.
Or tits.
Either way, you got to jump. And it's like, in my case, when I moved to New York, I had read in a book I was reading about Cortez burning his boats. And
Let's burn the boats. There's a song about it.
And here was the reason. I just keep it short because I know we don't have a lot of time. When Cortez got to Mexico, he's got these boats. He's got this crew. They've been out in the ocean for a couple of months. Everybody's got scurvy. They've got haven't had fresh food. Think about the bathing. You jump in the ocean. You've been eating fish you catch. Just horrible. They get to Mexico, and all they want to do is get water, get enough food, and get their ass back to Spain.
And get laid, baby. And maybe get laid.
And yeah, and they did pause to take in some horizontal refreshment, which is always a popular pastime with all of us, hopefully. Any rate, or whatever you call it, interspecies, for the goat aficionados out there. Anyhow, I went from Cortez. What he did to get rid of the mutiny was he just burned his boats. He heard what they're going to do. They were talking about killing him, and he sent out the people who knew what he'd set out to do, and he burned the boats, and that was it. The rest is history. They subdued the Aztec Empire. There was other boats being sent on a periodic basis. They got there, and he's like, "You're not going to believe this place, man. We're just killing everybody and stealing all this shit." And the rest is history. But sort of like I said, when I came to New York to move here, I just said, I got a carload of stuff. I got a guitar, a drum set, bunch of books. Had a bunch of books, and other than that, and I was terrified. But if you're not a little terrified in New York, you're not going to last long. So it's always good to keep a little level of paranoia about you, keep you alive. And remember, just because you're not paranoid doesn't mean someone's not out to get you. That's right.
So I just wanted to mention, yes, the story you were speaking of, it's actually a song by a band called King and Country, and it's Burn the Ships or Burn the Boats, I believe. So they're a Christian rock band. People, you can find them, and it's a great song. Great band. Actually saw them in live. They were awesome. But there is a whole story, and their whole album is like based on that song and that story that you just told. So they have a whole thing that goes along with it, video, everything. So I encourage you guys to look it up. So I know Mike had some ghost stories he wanted to share. Let's get into the spooky, Mike, and get us to it.
All right. So first, it starts out when I was a little kid. My parents buy this house. So, by the way, NYPD, FBI, 353 East 31st Street, Brooklyn, New York. There's a guy buried in the basement. Now you know. So this lady and her son are trying to sell the house like overnight. Oh, we got to get out of here. We got to leave. Yeah, so my parents buy the house. In the basement, there's a fresh slab of concrete. It's raised up about an inch there. All the rest of the concrete, 6 foot long, 3 foot wide. No plumbing in that end of the basement. Now I have like my train set down there, my chemistry set down there. I'm not going down. Fuck it. I don't want the trains. I don't want the chemistry set. Why not? Because there's a guy buried in the basement. We know he was down there. Now, they wonder why when you put the dogs in the basement, they chew through the door to get back out. Because there's a guy buried in the basement. So I was tortured my whole childhood. I couldn't enjoy anything down there. I couldn't play with the trains because I knew the guy was over in the corner. And I knew he was freaking looking at me. So moral of that story, if you go to buy a house and there's a fresh slab in the basement, dig it up first. Because you know the guy's, his grandchildren are probably still collecting his Social Security checks. That's the end of that. But now this is serious stuff. So when I met my first wife, before we were married, I bought her a Doberman Pinscher. And the dog used to spend every day down the basement with Bridget's dad. It was like he was an electrician. That was his workshop. And they would spend the entire day down the basement hanging out. Now, he passed from colon cancer. It was very sad. He was only 62. After he died, now that dog, let me explain something. This dog would go through fire with Bridget. This dog would do anything in the world that Bridget did, except go back down that basement. We were never able to get her back down that basement. She would have torn your arms off if you tried to get her back down that basement. And that started the day after he passed. That freaked everybody out. Now, in the dining room, they had pictures of the 5 kids. Kathy was the oldest. And I think at the time she was probably, back then she was probably 40 years old. She starts dating this guy that was older than her father would have been, right? In the mid 60s or like really old. So now, first of all, her picture, we go in the dining room, her picture is on the floor. It actually came out of the frame. Okay, we can secure that. They put the picture back in the frame with a piece of Scotch tape so it can't fall back out. The next day, the entire frame is on the floor. They put it back up. Next day, the frame is shattered in a million pieces. Nobody's home. That was it. She broke up with that guy. Nothing ever happened with that frame again.
What the hell?
So that was scary. And now he was an electrician. And so we'd be used to go up to the attic, and on the way up, the lights would go on and off. And after he passed, they had nothing but like light bulbs would turn on for no reason. And it was just, I so believe. And then on our 20th anniversary, we had gone to Casadega, which, if anybody doesn't know, is a town in Central Florida where there's a lot of mediums and seances, that all that kind of stuff. It's like an entire community based on that. And Bridget did a reading, and that lady didn't know anything about Bridget, and she told her that your father has 3 brothers, and 3, that only one is still alive, and the others are hanging out in South America somewhere, creating mischief until he's ready to join them before they cross over. How did she know that? And then the next morning we're in the cafeteria, and at the time I had been studying my family tree a lot, from Naples, Italy, and my uncle, everybody in my family had boats, and the guy starts telling me, I'm getting a message for you, and they want you to continue what you're doing about your heritage, and we're seeing the ocean, and we see that there's boats involved. And no, I didn't tell anybody anything about my life, so the shit is real. It's so freaking real. But the best part of that whole weekend was we check into this hotel. There's 2 other couples, and now it's like 11 o'clock at night. The lady hands us the keys and says, "I'm going home." What do you mean you're going home? It's a freaking hotel. No, I'm locking up. If anything happens, you guys have my phone number. Turns out it's an old freaking hua house, and that's right. I'm from Brooklyn, so it's a freaking hua house. I'm not gonna say it's a whore. No, it's a freaking hua house.
It's a hua.
So it's a hua house. Now we're there, and now we get all these freaking ghosts of all these huas that work there, and I'm like, this is freaking crazy. But no, if anybody's into all that paranormal stuff, you have to at least go to Casadega for a weekend. It's really cool.
I was determined to have issues with Casadega, and they tried a whatever you would call it, an exorcism, and it didn't turn out good.
Oh my God!
I turned one of them into a kangaroo, and it still roams around out there today.
With a little Joey in his pocket.
Yeah, it's got a Joey that's now known as Joe, and he's 6 foot tall, and he roams around breaking into people's bird feeders and stuff.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I will tell you guys, I've always been kind of metaphysically challenged, and sometimes I poke fun at some of this stuff, but I also know this. I've met enough people who've seen things and had things happen that they can't explain, and that I sure as hell can't explain. And energy is energy, so I can understand why people have a scientific belief in it. And I keep an open mind. You remember, 500 years ago, we didn't have a clue what an X-ray machine was, and now they can look at you, and things that you would have been burned at the stake for that we routinely do. They'd say that, you have to think about there's very few tribes on Earth that haven't had contact with humans. They live in protected areas like off New Guinea.
Sorry, gotta do it.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh God.
Let me find it. There is. Don't I have it? Seriously,
I think we have a
I have a
cow.
cow. I don't think I have a cow one, dude. I have this.
Insect.
Now you're just having fun.
Man, I'm telling you what, that the lion. All right.
Oh God.
So on our serious issue of
Sorry.
things that go bump. No, that's okay. We were going to have John Spear with us today for everybody out in audience land. John is our resident paranormal person, and he can't be with us, but we'll have him back on. You'll be seeing some more of John. We're working on some interesting and fun stuff. Pam, you met us in the past. She didn't answer and then disappeared. Well, I have to admit, I have not had any visitations from anything. I'm going
to tell you one. I got one.
All right.
It's kind of real, man. It's a little touchy. So I got convicted, and for the first time, I went to the adult jail, and for the first time, the bar is closed. Single man cell. I sat on my bunk. I thought of my grandfather, and goosebumps on my arms right now. I felt something like go and give me a freaking hug.
Wow.
No shit. No shit.
I have goosebumps.
It was just like I sat on the bunk. I looked down. I go, holy fuck, what is happening? And then I just felt like, and it physically pulled me. And it was like, all I could think of was my grandfather. You know, I had another one actually happen last year. A really good friend of mine passed away, and I went there to see him while he was still there. And I grabbed his hand. I said, I'll keep my promise. And my other friend, dear friend, was in there with me. And right when I grabbed his hand and said that, his head went like this. I was like that because it scared the shit out of me. But at the same time, it wasn't like I'm scared. It was like, did I just see that?
Mm-hmm.
Real shit, man.
Wow.
Real shit.
Life's full of mysteries is all we know. And
absolutely.
You know, I like Veronica's point, and I agree. You know, I think we have religion kind of comes up in these kind of conversations, and I think if I break it down to the most elemental thing as far as how I feel as a human, if you're doing right, you can feel it. And if you're not, even if you're doing it, you may not like yourself, whatever you're doing, but there's redemption possible for people. And we all know when it feels wrong. Like, you know, I've done lots of things that I knew at the time were dumb and stupid, and I was taking a chance, and I did it anyway. Hell, some of those things I did for decades and thought it was great. But you know what? When things feel bad, they probably are. If you feel bad after doing something, pay attention to your head and your heart, because get all the dogma and the doctrine and all the other bullshit that religions force feeds people, depending on
live, laugh, and love.
But there is, and whatever that positive energy is, you know, I don't want anybody to think that I'm dissing on their religion, because I don't. We all believe what we believe, and we have different interpretations. Yeah, I'd like to have a couple of my dogs, and you know, everybody has a different idea of what their afterlife's going to be. You know, myself, I can joke and say my idea of heaven is I've got the top floor at the the Waldorf in New York, and I have takeout every day, and I can wander down the street and hang out with Kurt Cobain and Jimi Hendrix and record, but who the hell knows?
You know what's a great book? Speaking of books, The 5 People You Meet in Heaven is fabulous.
I've heard about that.
That's an awesome book.
Yeah, I've heard of it too. I gotta read that. Neil,
and then they made a movie of it, and Michael Imperioli was in the movie. I think Brian Dennehy was in the movie as well, but the book was fabulous. It really makes you think. Like, since then, I've had my list of the 5 people I want to meet in heaven.
Cool.
Good. I'm going to check that out. Thanks, Mike.
On a rather, we're about to wrap up the show, guys, and I want to thank Irish. You, as always, man, you're just a natural for this, and we're so glad to have you. And I'm glad.
Good to be here, guys.
Friend, man.
Mike, good seeing you. Jules, love you. Neil, love you.
Same thing.
Thank you, guys.
And you know, to everybody watching, I appreciate everybody who takes the time out, and I don't care when you do it or how you do it. I appreciate it, because we just try to spread a little fun and a little positive energy if we can, and make fun of shit.
Come laugh. Come laugh.
And you know, come laugh and have fun. And please, the disclaimer: if you're easily offended, don't hang. I'm going to get on a more serious note here. We've been talking about all this life and death type of thing, and I'm very sad to announce, some of you know, my keyboard player, J.R. Sanson, has passed away yesterday. And I've known J.R. for about 35 years. We worked together many times. We're both alma mater from Full Sail University. And when I took my internship at the first recording studio, Jeff Arthur, I met him and several other people there, some who weren't happy to see me. One of them was like, "Oh, great. Another Full Sail guy is going to come in and make more money than I do, and I've been here 5 years." I was like, "Oh, I'm so glad to see you too, Chris." And JR was like the guy there who went, "Oh, that's just Chris." And told me how much of a psycho our boss was. And I learned to work with all of those people. But JR has been my friend for a long time. Various bands. He's helped me record so many things back in the Shake Society in Florida. He's a fine producer. Goombi Ortiz is one of his records. You hear our theme song at the beginning, and that's JR's work, his production. If you hear First We Take Manhattan, it's in our song list. It's usually in the second set. That's the last thing I worked on with him. And all I can say, it's weird because we have so many things we've been working on and worked on that I can't just ring him up and say, hey, man, let's get to work on this. And I got to tell you, it hasn't really hit me because we have a lot to do, setting his arrangements and so forth. But for everybody in Florida who knew JR and who ever worked with him, you all know what a great guy he was. He always gave more than anybody else in the room. And he put up with me really great. I can remember him saying to me one day, can't we just go to lunch? And I just was like, JR, man, no, we can't go to lunch. We'll get lunch afterwards. And 6 hours later, the poor guy was starving. And we finally went and got some pizza, and it was a good time. But I'm really going to miss him. And he helped me with the show before Julie came on. He was my first engineer. And he worked for my wife's company, Girlfriends. And, you know, all I can tell you is if you have people in life you value, tell them and value them, treat them good. We're all going to be gone. We all have a shelf life. And, you know, everybody, thank you. This is the end of our show for today. And I can't thank you enough for watching. I hope you have a great weekend. We'll see you next week. I love you all.
Guys.
Take care.
All right, guys. Love you guys. We'll
be
back.
careful and be cool and be kind. Okay.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Take care.